This is Bud McMillan doing my instructor project. This is the point of view I'll be filming from. So I have my projector set up, student placement laid out with their reading materials. And I've got my slide set up on this computer. I'll be using the podium for my lesson plan. I've got my training record ready to go for tomorrow. Tests are already printed out. Test key, my practical skill sheets ready to go. So I have all of my materials printed off, ready. I'll be doing this presentation tomorrow, so getting everything prepared today. Okay. Recording.
Oh yeah, his truck, we had to go get it, just get the battery stuff built.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Really appreciate you guys coming in for this. My name is Bud McMillan, and I've been in the fire service since 2006. Your eyes are like,
Oh yeah. I said back well, and I've been quick this morning.
Here today to present the Essentials of Firefighting 7th edition. We're going to be going over Chapter 10, Structural Search and Rescue. It's a modified version, so it's not the full chapter, it's a condensed version. If you will, please turn down or silence all your electronic devices. If you're on call, at least turn it down just so it's not a distraction. Appreciate it. As far as the facilities, this is a tobacco-free campus, so there's no use of tobacco on the premises. So if you take a break and you want to do that, you'll have to leave the property. Restrooms are through that doorway and to your right. Emergency exits. This is actually our primary emergency exit right here. We can also go out this door and go to the left. So should take a break about every hour, or try to, at least for the classroom portion. So when we take a break, there's a snack machine right out in the hallway, and then through this exit, there's a soda machine just around the corner. So, anybody have any questions before we get started? Everybody awake and perky, ready to go? Okay, if you'll open your books to page 433, that's where the slides take off at. So I normally walk around. I'm actually going to sit down so I can follow along with my book here. Everybody hear me okay? Yes, sir. So everybody can see the screen. Do I need to dim any of the lights for the reflection?
I think you're good.
I'm good.
Nope.
All right.
Thank you.
So jump right in. All right, learning objective. One more thing. There is a test at the end. So it's 10 questions, and as long as you follow along, all the questions are in there. So just so you guys are aware, it's graded. So pay attention. All right, learning objective number 1, explain the best practices to ensure firefighter survival during interior operations. Ensuring firefighter survival. Recognize potential hazards, rescue lost or trapped firefighters, and escape unavoidable hazards. Situational awareness for search and rescue operations. Conditions specific to search and rescue that should be communicated. So these are things that you should be communicating between your team members, but also to incident command or operations. So you want to communicate the location and extent of the fire, changes in heat level, changes to fire behavior, spread, and growth, the visibility level, if it changes. So you go in and there's light smoke, and that smoke starts to get dark. darker, thicker. Changes to the neutral plane. You guys know what the neutral plane is. So in a smoke environment, you have your heated gases and your smoke up high, your fresh air is down low. The neutral plane is the point in between where the air is just at a neutral point. If that starts to lower, so your smoke starts to bank down, that's a change of conditions in the neutral plane that need to be reported. Smoke color or change of smoke color. Again, light smoke to dark smoke to the turbulent, darker, get that greenish, yellowish color in it. And then volume and behavior of smoke. Have any of you guys taken the art of smoke reading class? It's put on at like winter and summer fire school.
Yeah.
If you get a chance, that is an awesome class about smoke reading, and it totally changes the way you look at smoke conditions when you arrive on a fire. All right, conditions specific to search and rescue that should be communicated. So, not every structure fire can be searched, right? I mean, there's times when you arrive and things are already out of control. But if the conditions are so that you can do search and rescue, these are the things that need to be communicated. Known locations and number of victims or occupants. How do you get that information?
Usually from 911 or people on Zoom.
Right. So if the dispatcher is able to talk to someone, hopefully they're going to get that information if it's available. So from the time of page until you arrive on scene and you find someone to talk to, we want to be able to find out if there's anyone in the house or structure, how many, where they might be. So that's something that starts from the beginning of the page. Your starting and available air supply, so that would be your SCBA, basically checking, like we do every day, our truck checks, make sure we've got full bottles ready to go. Safe havens and alternate exit routes, and indications of ceiling or floor collapse. So those are all things, all conditions specific to search and rescue that should be communicated. And you're communicating those to whom?
And command.
Right. So incident command, your teammates, operations, that kind of stuff.
Safety.
Yes, safety officer. All right, so what conditions should be reported to other team members and the supervisor during the search and rescue operation?
Locations of safe havens and alternate exits.
Correct.
Starting air supply.
Correct.
Smoke conditions.
Smoke conditions. Okay.
And
Very good.
number of victims or occupants.
Correct. All right, your personal preparation for survival. So these are things both during and before a search and rescue that we should be doing for ourselves. The old saying that you got to take care of yourself before you can take care of others, that's where this comes into play. So practice sound firefighting techniques, whether that's on the fire ground or in training. Practice your situational awareness. Anticipate types of survival situations you may face. So like we do Mayday training or floor collapse training, that kind of thing. Practice Mayday and self-rescue. Check your own and team members' air supply. And practice basic skills until they are automatic. So don't practice till you get it right. Practice until you can't fail. You guys have probably heard that. You guys got to do the, I don't know what it has, but you guys got to do the window bailout prop.
Yes.
We lost track of it. I'm not sure where it's at right now, but that's something that is actually a lot of fun to train on. So your physical and mental preparation. Practice basic skills. So everything that we learn in essentials, firefighter 1, firefighter 2, those are all our basic skills as firefighters that we need to practice. Train for the hazards that you will encounter. Practice air management techniques, so controlling your breathing. skip breathing, that type of thing, and practice emergency exit techniques. So these are things that you can do to prepare yourself before a search and rescue. Make sure your PPE matches the hazard and is working properly. Know your duties. Know your physical limitations. So knowing your duties, the first thing I think of is freelancing. You know, when you get on scene, you need to get an assignment and stick to that assignment. Stick with your partner. You don't want to just be wandering around doing whatever you feel like, because it's just not how we roll. Know the limitations of your PPE and air supply system. I had to look this up because I couldn't remember. But do you know what the weakest link is on your PPE? The first thing that would typically fail?
Your mask.
Yeah, your mask. So at about 550 degrees, which I can tell you is extremely uncomfortable anyway, but at about 550 degrees is where your SCBA mask would start to fail. So knowing your limitations, you know, you've got a TIC and you're getting a temperature readout. If you're getting anywhere near that type of temperature, it's time to get out of that environment. Our gear can take up to 1,200 or so degrees, but that's not going to do you any good if you can't breathe, right?
So your face is melted.
Exactly. Yeah, you lose your airway, and you're no better off than the people you're trying to rescue. So look out for members of your crew. Listen to your team members. I know that's hard to do. You're trying to talk through a mask. Even with our team talk or our microphone, it's still hard to hear what you're saying, especially when you've got noise and the environment around you. But try to listen to your team members. Follow orders thoughtfully, and ask for clarification if it does not sound right. So you hear a command over the radio to your team, and you're not certain of what you heard, or it just doesn't sound right. You know, don't be afraid to ask for clarification. Warning: PPE has specific limitations and will not protect you from all hazards during a search and rescue operation. Again, you know, knowing your PPE and its limitations. Situational awareness. Look for signs of key fire behavior indicators, particularly those associated with rapid fire development, changing smoke conditions, that type of thing, heat rise, your neutral plane, you know, all those things. Listen, feel, and watch for changes in the environment. When you've got your full PPE on, what's a good way to really be able to gauge like the temperature change without risking yourself to injury? I know for me, like between my mask and my coat collar, where it's just Nomex hood, you can feel the temperature. It's not necessarily going to burn you or anything, but you can definitely feel if temperatures are starting to get too hot. You know, when you're moving around your PPE, if you've ever had your gear get so hot that it's starting to feel hot on your skin when you move, that's an indicator that it's getting too hot. So listen, feel, and watch for changes in the environment, things like that. Recognize psychological effects of obscured vision. So disorientation, fear, claustrophobia, panic. Those are all the psychological effects of your limited vision or obscured vision in a search and rescue scenario. How to overcome the psychological effects of obscured vision conditions. Remain calm. I say that's probably at the top of the list for a reason. You know, if you can stay calm no matter what the situation, you're going to think clearer, you're going to make better decisions. Control your breathing. How many times have you been in an air pack and you're working and you're doing this or that, and you realize that you were just huffing and puffing like crazy? You're just sucking that air down. So you need to calm down, take a deep breath, breathe through your mouth, breathe out your nose. You know, make better use of that air. Maintain your situational awareness. So be aware of what's going on around Stay in contact with your partners, your teammates. Focus on your assigned task. Rely on your other senses. So if you can't see anything, you can still hear, you can still feel what's going on around you. Seek professional assistance if needed. So say you've been in a situation and you've had claustrophobia, something like that. There's nothing wrong with getting counseling or something to work through that so that you don't have that issue the next time. I knew of a firefighter that had a big issue with heights, and he knew he had an issue with heights, and he actually worked on that and got to where he could deal with heights, do whatever he needed to do, and work through it. So
I guess that goes back to knowing your limitations.
exactly. All right, review question. List 3 actions that firefighters can take to better prepare themselves for survival in hazardous conditions.
Practice basic skills.
Practice basic skills.
Know your limitations.
Know your limitations.
Know your duties.
Yep. Know your duties, stick to your tasks. All right. You guys might actually pass the test. All right, Mayday situations. Different types of Mayday situations are air emergencies. So what would qualify as an air emergency?
Water pressure alarm inside the building.
Okay, yeah, your low air pressure alarm goes off. That's more of a warning than an emergency, but if you've been inside for half an hour and you've got 5 minutes of air left, are you close enough to a door to get out? So that can definitely come into play when the alarm goes off. You could lose your air supply due to, your hose gets pulled on or torn, your mask gets dislodged, that kind of thing. You get lost or disoriented. Sorry if somebody's saying something. Oh, okay, I thought I caught somebody off. Entanglement, rapid fire development, or collapse. Collapse or trapped. So like a ceiling collapse and it knocks you to the floor, that kind of thing. Or the floor falls through and you end up in the basement. So those are all possible Mayday situations. Determining tenability. Untenable environment may remain tenable for firefighters. I'm not sure why they use that word. Basically, it just means survivable. Tenable means survivable environment. So untenable environment may remain tenable for firefighters, meaning that what may be unsurvivable for a civilian, that's in a structure with no PPE, no air supply, that situation is still survivable for us with our PPE and air pack. So that's what they're saying here. No evidence of structural collapse. Heat levels and duration of operations stay within acceptable limits for PPE and SCBA. So basically, you're determining, is this an environment where someone could survive, that we could possibly rescue someone, still find a surviving victim, that type of thing. That's what you're determining. Environment can change swiftly due to sudden or unexpected fire spread and temperature increase, loss of structural stability and possible collapse, buildup of smoke and products of combustion. If the environment becomes untenable, personnel must be alerted. Personnel should evacuate or take shelter in a safe haven. And IC must be notified once all personnel evacuate or take shelter. Identifying possible safe havens. So possible safe havens are going to be areas where victims could still be alive. There are also going to be areas that you could possibly take shelter in if you had an air emergency or another Mayday type of situation. So occupants may be in safe havens. Firefighters can use door control and safe havens as survival procedures. So what do they mean by door control?
The door can be closed to prevent the spread of the heat,
Right.
smoke, or
So anytime we're on a working fire, we always try to maintain each door. So we try to maintain each door to limit the oxygen that's allowed into the structure that's going to feed the fire. But also, you've got this bedroom with a young person. Okay, so you got this bedroom, it's got this young person in it. If this door is closed, then a lot of that smoke, heat, gases are being kept outside of that room until we open that door. So that's, at this point, looking at this diagram, that's still a survivable, possibly tenable area that you might find someone surviving. You could also take shelter in if conditions out here start to get too bad for you to survive. Firefighters can use door control and safe havens as survival procedures. Notify IC if you seek shelter in a safe haven. So if something happens, you have to dive into one of these tenable rooms as a safe haven. First thing you want to do is get on the radio with command or RIT or operations to let them know what's going on, so that they can get you out of that situation too. So what hazards must firefighters be prepared to face during interior operations?
Air emergencies.
Okay. What else?
Rapid fire development.
Rapid fire development.
Entanglement.
Yep. Entanglement, collapse. Those are all possible situations. I'm really bad about keeping my license book.
Four through seven.
All right. Principles of air management. Always know how much air you have. Always know how much air you have left, right? Know your point of no return and inform incident command if you must exit the structure. What is the point of no return? I mean, what is it to you without looking it up? We'll get there, but
I'm assuming when you're gonna have to call an AA, like you're not gonna have enough air to get to the door, or.
right. So the point of no return, like I mentioned earlier, is say you know you've got, based on your health, you know you can make a pack last about, say 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So your point of no return would be past the halfway point of that air supply. So you've been working in this environment 15 minutes. Is it going to take you 15 minutes to get back out? Is it going to take you 5 minutes to get out? So your point of no return is when you've gone past that point of having enough air supply to get back out. So it's important to know that. Inform IC if you must exit the structure. Pressure gauge check. So you want to check your air pressure, your bottle pressure before entering the IDLH atmosphere. IDLH is immediately dangerous to life and health. I know we all know that, but sometimes I forget. So before entering an immediately dangerous to life and health atmosphere, you want to check your pressure gauge. You want to check it when moving from one area to another. Check it after periods of heavy work, at specific intervals based on your SOPs, which we don't have an SOP as far as air monitoring is concerned. We may have in the future. Check your pressure when you're resting. Check it before beginning a new assignment. So I've had this happen where, my blow air alarm hasn't gone off or anything, but we've got the fire knocked. We go outside to grab some tools, whatever, and we get our assignment changed. They want us to go in and go in the attic or something like that. You want to check your bottle pressure, because if you've got 10 minutes left before your alarm goes off, about the time you get into the attic, then you're going to have to leave again to change your bottle. So anytime you go outside the structure or change assignment, you want to check your air pressure. And check your air pressure when assigned area is reached. So, point of no return is based on how much air is required to exit the IDLH environment. The lowest cylinder gauge reading of any team member. So let's say that me and Brett have gone in to do an initial search, and my low air alarm goes off. He's still got 10 minutes or so before his goes off. Mine is the lowest, so that's the one that we need to pay attention to and go ahead and exit. And ideally not wait until your low air alarm goes off, especially if you're in that situation. So if mine's reading lower than his, then mine needs to be the one that we go by on point of no return. It's also based on your SOPs. Again, we don't have that in place yet. Based on environmental conditions and team's physical and mental condition. So there again, pay attention to your teammates. If you got a teammate, maybe it's a new person that hasn't really been in those types of environments and they're starting to get panicky, scared. One, they're going to go through air faster because they're not staying home, and two, you want to go with their condition as far as finding no return. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Caution, air consumption varies widely from individual to individual. A cylinder's rated operating time is not an indicator of actual operating time because of these variations. Air management in an emergency. Never leave your team. Never leave a team member in the hazard zone, and maintain communications with IC or supervisor. Those are all just cardinal rules of air management. And never leaving your teammate, that's just a cardinal rule in general for the fire service. Possible solutions to an air emergency. Stay low to the ground and ensure your valve is open. So your bottle valve, opening the bypass valve only as needed and directed by SOPs. Again, we don't have that, but you learned in Fire 1 and 2 about skip breathing, about manually opening and closing your bypass. Now it's a push button with the new packs, the riggers. But opening that to take a breath and then closing it if it's not flowing on its own. Fix or bypass the malfunctions if possible. So like we've got our buddy breathing system where we can share air with one another, things like that. Use air sharing techniques that equipment and SOPs allow. So if you have an air emergency, there are ways to overcome that. If trapped or disoriented, stay calm, activate your pass device, and control your breathing until rescue arrives. If SCBA regulator is inoperable and air remains in your cylinder, you can open the bypass valve to provide positive pressure and breath directly from the cylinder. You just don't want to leave that on. Turn it on, take a breath, turn it off so that you're not just wasting your air, especially if you're trapped. If air runs out before rescue arrives and there are no other options, create a gap between the chin and mask to take a breath as needed. Also, you can take your hose, disconnect that, stick it in your coat. At least there's some kind of filter there for the air, as opposed to just breathing in straight smoke and gases. If you are having an air emergency, try to shelter yourself from the IDLH if necessary or possible. So, safe haven type of situation, if you can get into one of those safe havens and take shelter while you figure it out. Review question, what are the 3 key principles to air management?
Always know how much air you have left.
Yep.
Know your point of no return. Inform the IC if you must exit this structure.
Yep. Always know how much air you have left, know your point of no return, and inform IC. All right. I should do that in the wisdom place. All right, sheltering in place. So if you have a shelter in place, you want to transmit a mayday. That's a mayday situation, so you want to broadcast that. Remain calm and control your breathing. Go to an uninvolved nearby room if possible and close the door. So that's also known as a, you just said it. uninvolved nearby room would be a safe haven, also known as a safe haven. So go in there, close the door, try to shield yourself. Shine a light and make noise to draw attention. So you go into a safe haven and there's a bedroom window. Go to that bedroom window, use your light to get the attention of your rig team or someone on the outside, and continue to communicate. Continue to maintain your communications with incident command or rig. Activate your pass device. Listen for sounds or clues that would provide your location. Isolate yourself from the fire compartment. So those are all things you want to do if you shelter in place. Review question: what action should be taken if it is necessary to shelter in place?
Activate your task force.
Okay, but before you activate your pass device, you want to do what?
Remain calm, control your breathing.
What else? You want to?
Well, if you were shelter in place, would that be a Mayday situation?
Yes.
If you
So
were stuck somewhere?
correct. So you want to transmit your Mayday, and as you know, along with your Mayday, you're trying to do the best you can to tell them where you're at, what the condition is. You want to do that before you activate your pass, because you're not going to hear anything once you do that, right?
So get to a safe haven. Find a safe haven spot, yeah.
Yep.
Once you're there.
There you go. What type of emergency situation would require a firefighter to shelter in place rather than escape?
You pass your point of no return, so instead of trying to like force yourself, like you know you're not gonna get back, instead of trying to push through, try to conserve air, skip breathe, all that fancy jazz.
Yep. Exactly. Try to get yourself in as safe a place as you can and get help there. All right. Next objective. Describe the structural search and rescue operations. Training and knowledge for structural searches. So you have your search preparation, which we talked about some of that. Your search safety guidelines, fire isolation procedures, search markings, search methods, and your primary and secondary search techniques.
450.
And there will be, when we go out and do practical skills, we will be doing some practical skills on your primary or secondary search. So search preparation. Know who you report to. So who is it that you're supposed to report to on the radio or report to when you arrive on scene? Portable radio is turned on, working, and set to the correct channel. Hopefully your battery's charged up. We should all try to keep them in that condition. Your SCBA is turned on, working, and contains a full cylinder of air. Your pass device is turned on and working, which ours are automatic. You turn it back on, the pass device comes on. I think they're all integrated that way now. We still have a few on the hazmat truck that have the clip-on pass device, right? The little yellow box. So that's one that you would actually want. You have to activate that, turn it on, so that if you stop it moving, it would activate the pass. But all the rest of our packs are integrated. Search preparation, know assigned duties and tactical objectives. Be aware of alternate means of egress. So you can always be keeping an eye out for where your emergency exits would be in any type of situation. Even when you're standing in traffic, you should know what direction to jump when somebody's not paying attention and try to run you over. Gather knowledge of the building's floor plan. Have all necessary tools and equipment, forcible entry tools, hand light, thermal imaging camera, search line, etc. Also on that list should be something to mark doors with. We'll get into that later. If you're doing a search and rescue, you need a marking instrument. Building floor plan. So different ways that we can know a building's floor plan are inspections, pre-incident surveys, architectural plans, if we have those available, and personal observation. So you know the floor plan of your house, and you probably know the floor plan of other houses in your neighborhood based on based on cookie cutter floor plans. Like my neighborhood, 90% of the houses have the exact same floor plan. The only difference is that you may go left or right with a different floor plan at the top of the steps. Other than that, they're identical. So personal observation, businesses that you've been inside of, things like that. If that building were to be filled with smoke, you've got an idea of how it's laid out. So you can tour buildings under construction. We've done that at different times, like when they were building the apartments over here. We went and we walked through, or some of us went and walked through some of those apartments to kind of see how they were laid out before they were all put together. Observe structures in your response area. So houses, hotels, motels, businesses, that type of thing. Be observant of what the structure is, how many stories it has, the type of construction. Your tools and equipment, flashlights, thermal imaging camera, portable radio, forcible entry tools, a charged hose line or water can, rope for search lines, and ladders where necessary. So those are tools and equipment that you want to have with you ready to go. Thermal imaging cameras. Uses: allow firefighters to see sources of heat through darkness and smoke. You can use these to locate victims and hidden fires and identify temperature differentials. So all of our thermal imaging cameras have a temperature readout, and depending on where you're pointing it at, it gives you a temperature, and they're pretty accurate. So whether it's the environment that you're in or a certain object, you can have a pretty good idea of what the temperature is if you've got a thermal imaging camera with you. The advantages of a thermal imaging camera: it enhances your situational awareness, improves visibility in an obscured environment, provides additional information during a search, and it may be useful in locating victims, the seat of the fire, or hidden fires. The limitations of a thermal imaging camera is that they cannot detect a person under or behind furniture, so it doesn't see through furniture. It does not see through the opposite side of a wall, not sight. I didn't even notice that until just now. But you can't see through walls, can't see through furniture. You cannot see through water, glass, or reflective surfaces. So mirrors and glass are the same with a thermal imaging camera. If you look at it, you see a reflection, but you don't see what's on the other side. May not be able to detect fire below carpeted floors. So if you're pointing at the carpeted floor with your TIC, you might see a change in temperature indicated, but it's not necessarily going to show you a fire that could be there just because there's too much material. Information about use and requirements, manufacturer's documentation, which is all covered by NFPA 1408 and NFPA 1801. That will not be on the test. Inspection and maintenance. Inspect after every use. Replace batteries as needed. Clean regularly. And report damage and or malfunction immediately. So they're very expensive and very important tools, and we want to take really good care of them. They should not be relied upon to provide all information about a fire. Not a replacement for your senses or observations. They just add to or aid in, but they're not a replacement for your senses or your observations. And they may fail under fire conditions. So we talked about SCBA mask failing at 550 degrees. Well, if you think about our thermal imaging cameras that are on the trucks, what are they made out of? They're synthetic materials, rubbers, plastics. They have some metal components, but those rubbers and plastics are going to start failing around what temperature. probably about the same temperature that your mask is gonna start to have issues, maybe even sooner. So if you're in fire conditions that are getting too hot and your camera's starting to fail, you're probably in a situation you need to get out of too. Or at least be thinking about that. Review questions. What should firefighters do to prepare for search and rescue operations? So what are things that we need to do to prepare for a search and rescue operation?
Make sure our radios are charged.
Yes, radio's charged, on the right channel.
Right.
Know who you're reporting to?
Know who you're reporting to?
SCBA is turned on.
Correct. SCBA is turned on, full, pass device is activated. And when I say activated, I'm not talking about alarming, but turned on. What tools and equipment do firefighters use in search and rescue operations? So what are tools you want to take with you for search and rescue operation?
Flashlight.
TIC.
Your portable radio?
Radio, TIC, possibly a charged hose line or water can, in case you come across the scene of the fire, you got a way to manage that. What were you saying, Brett?
Rope or cordage.
Yes, yes. I have done some searches, not very many. And I don't remember if I know we have ropes on the truck for that are, just for that, the red rope bags. I can't remember if I've actually tied off and used a search rope or not. Of course, it was in a house, so there's only a few bedrooms.
I like to, would have an axe, or something that you could chop, break into, like we got to a door, behind, you can't get the door open. You can always drop it if you find who it is and take off without it,
Absolutely.
But take one in with you, that way you have something to, then if there's any bears or anything in there, you
Right.
defend yourself against.
You laugh, I've come across.
No, you're absolutely right. Hand tools and my go-to has always been a Halligan, because of course you don't want to tear up somebody's floor, but if the house is already involved in fire, if you put a Halligan down where the horn and the pry part are on the ground, and you're not smashing your fingers when you're crawling with the tool. And I haven't come across a door yet that I can't open with a Halligan, so that's kind of my go-to. So, all right, moving on. What type of equipment is used in your jurisdiction for search and rescue? So that kind of goes along the lines of what we were just talking about. But what do we use for search and rescue? What are the things that we would think of to grab? If it was you or I on Halligan? Hopefully a search rope, just because that can really save your hide.
Usually charge hose line.
Yeah. For us, usually, because honestly, for us, we're usually multitasking, so we're going in to attack the fire and search. So, all right. Maybe someday we'll have more personnel to accomplish those tasks. Search safety guidelines. You guys doing okay? Need to take a break or anything?
I think we're good.
All right. I believe I remember, I did make coffee, so if you guys need to take a coffee break, there's coffee in there. Do not enter a structure when survivors are not likely to be found. So we're going to get into more discussion on that in this chapter, or in this section. But for the most part, you arrive on a structure fire, and we'll just say house fire. If you've got smoke and fire coming out of every window, what's the chance that someone's still going to be alive in that environment? Not very good, right? Let's say you arrive on that same structure fire, but you've got flames showing in one bedroom, but in the bedroom on the other side of the house, you can see through the window and it's still clear in there. That would be a situation where you might be able to do a vent enter search and actually potentially save a victim before the smoke gets to them. So you need to be able to be thinking about that and reading those conditions when you arrive. So do not enter a structure when survivors are not likely to be found. That's just a good rule of thumb. Closed door. we go to the front door, we're getting ready to go in, we don't wanna stand there with the door open, right? We wanna keep that door closed, because the minute we open that door, what do? We're introducing oxygen to an oxygen-starved environment, which is gonna feed the fire. Well, when you're searching or going through the house to put out the fire, something we can do is close doors to help slow down fire spread, slow down the gases and smoke, which is also helping to create safe havens and possibly even, make the environment tenable longer for a victim. So close the doors to create protected areas and avoid creating additional flow paths, so additional points for oxygen to get in. Maintain control of exterior doors to control ventilation. So how many times have we gone into a structure to ventilate, and we'll close doors to compartmentalize so we can air this room out, and we'll close that door, open another door, air that room out, etc. So that's what we're doing there. If there's a possibility of rapid fire development, do not attempt entry until coordinated fire control and ventilation have been implemented. So, what are indications of rapid fire development?
Smoke, probably.
Yes.
That's the volume of smoke and the coloration.
Exactly. So that's smoke reading in general. If you pull up on a residence and you've got light smoke showing from the east, that's a lot different than heavy turbulent smoke coming from the eaves or coming from a bedroom window, that kind of thing. So be aware of those conditions and how they change, and be thinking about what's that smoke or that condition going to be doing 10 minutes from now, not just what it's doing right now. So do not freelance. Maintain radio contact with the incident commander. Monitor radio traffic for information or changes in orders. Continuously monitor fire conditions and use your department's personal accountability system. So those are all safety guidelines. Be aware of your entry point and secondary means of egress. Wear full PPE, including SCBA and pass device. Work in teams of 2 or more, and always remain in physical, visual, or vocal contact with your team members. If you encounter fire, close the door and report the condition. Now, obviously, if you've got a hose line in your hand, you're going to put it out. But I think this is more along search guidelines. So if you don't have a hose line or a water can, if you come to the fire room, closing the door can slow down the fire spread, right? Report the condition immediately and then search systematically. Where visibility is limited, stay low and move cautiously. Continuously monitor the structure's integrity and communicate changes. Mark entry doors and remember the direction you entered. Remember the direction you turned. So if you're going to come in and do a right-hand search, you need to remember that, because if you need to go back out, what way do you need to go? Left. Right, you need to turn left. So when visibility is obscured, maintain contact with a wall, hose line, or search line. So again, that's where a hose line can really come in handy, or a search line. Have a staffed, charged hose line available when working on the fire floor or floors immediately above or below. Communicate with IC and ventilation teams before creating exterior openings. So in a working fire situation, anytime you open a door or a window, you're creating a flow path and you're also creating a vent of some type, right? So before you create any exterior openings, coordinate that with IC and ventilation to make sure you're not going to mess up what they're working on. Inform your supervisor immediately of any rooms that could not be searched. So say you come to a door that's blocked. I've actually had that happen where there was like a couch in front of the door, and because of it was a hoarder's house, and because of the conditions, we couldn't get the couch out of the way to even search that room. So we had to have someone on the outside make entry through the window to search that room. Report promptly to your supervisor once the search is complete. List 5 safety guidelines for search and rescue operations. So what are 5 safety guidelines to follow for search and rescue operations? I think we went over like 15. So what are 5 of those?
Do not enter structure where survivors are not likely to be found.
Yes.
Maintain radio contact.
Yes, maintain radio contact, don't enter a fully involved structure. What?
It said something about staying in visual contact, didn't it, too, or is that?
Yes, stay in visual, verbal, or physical contact with your teammates at all times.
Working teams of 2 or more.
Working teams of 2 or more.
Maintain control of exterior doors to the structure.
Correct. All right. Fire isolation. Locating and isolating the fire must be a priority before any search may be accomplished in a number of ways. Entry to search provides a ventilation opening, so when you open the front door to do a search, you've got a safety line or a hose line, you're not going to be able to close that door back behind you, right? At least not completely. Ensuring fire does not spread should be a high priority. So you need to think about where's the fire at. If I can use this door instead of this door to limit the flow path or limit spreading the fire, those are kind of things that you need to think about before you make entry. Marking systems. So it says right there actually, lumber crayon or chalk, that's probably about the best tool you can use for marking doors because it's going to work on any surface. They don't dry up like a marker or one of those paint pens would do. Something good to keep your coat pocket to have in a search situation. So it's been 45 minutes, so I'm going to take a 5-minute break, get up and walk around a little bit. My throat's getting dry, so I'm going to grab some coffee. You guys want to take 5? Oh. Okay, so alright, so just go back a couple slides. Fire isolation. Locating and isolating the fire must be a priority before any search. It may be accomplished in a number of ways. Entering to search provides a ventilation opening, so that's again something to keep in mind. And ensuring the fire does not spread should be a high priority. Marking systems, we started talking about the lumber crayon, lumber chalk. So search markings. When you enter, so let's say we're going to go through this door, right? When you enter the door, you put a single slash mark, right? exit the room, you put the other slash mark to finish the X. So if someone comes along behind you and they see a single slash on the door, what does that tell them? That you're still in that room, right? Okay, got that call out to go out.
So you're only in.
We better go to that, so we're gonna put a pause. All right, I apologize for the interruption. Hopefully that'll be the last one, but we'll see.
I mean, we can't really predict calls.
No, I can't control it, so just gotta roll with it, but appreciate you guys. All right. Got my pager turned back down. Okay, so we were talking about the mark when you enter and then finishing the X when you exit. I think we were at, basically that tells the next team, you know, if you just did the one mark and you're still in there type of situation, so, okay. Main entrance search markings. So at the main entrance, date and time, search team, and whether or not you left the structure. So what comes to mind when I read that is like a natural disaster and you're searching multiple residences, you know. You've probably seen that in hurricane and tornado photos where you'll see the markings on different vehicles and houses that they've searched. So for us going in for like a rapid, you know, initial search on a structure fire, I'm not going to stand at the front door and put the date and time and all that, but something to keep in mind, okay? Now you notice, so that's the date and the time. Search team name, which we don't have a search team SOP at any time. If there's any hazards you come across, you can indicate those here. So like you come back out and there's a hole in the floor, there's drug paraphernalia, I mean any number of hazards we could run into, right? So you can indicate those here. If you have, say it's maybe a crime scene or a natural disaster type of.
I would say that's what like the date and stuff, like if it was Katrina, and they're going through houses for days and days and, you would want to put that on there just for.
Right. So those are just ideas of how you can use the marking system for more than just. So, but this is more of the type of search we're typically doing. Right. All right. And it says orange spray paint or the lumber chalk. I prefer the lumber. It's more of a crayon, but you know you can get that wet and it still works. The only bad thing about it is it's kind of brittle. I think they actually make like a tube where you push it out of the tube so it doesn't just get snapped in your pocket. All right, what marking systems does your jurisdiction use for search and rescue? So what do we use? To be perfectly honest, I've done a couple initial searches on house fires. We didn't use anything. It was 2-3 bedroom house.
I think it's during the heat of the moment, and if we really need to, I think we would probably use anything we have.
And I don't carry anything in my pocket to mark with. It's not something I've ever really thought about, but maybe it's something that I should think about. So. All right. Mammoth, did they do anything different?
Absolutely not. We've talked about it for years, but in the heat of the moment, there's no need. It's all one-story construction down there.
And we do carry orange spray paint on our trucks.
Right, so like if you had to search a nursing home or something that had a lot of, but single story, or single residence houses.
Yeah. All right, move on to the primary search. So, I will tell you one of your practical skills at the end of this will be part of the primary search. So, so pay attention to this for your skills portion. Rapidly determine location of victims, fast but thorough. before or during fire suppression. So again, this is your primary search. Quickly check known or likely victim locations and all affected areas. Check fire conditions and report changes. Always work in teams of 2 or more and maintain physical, visual, or voice contact. I do know from experience that moving the victim, whether it's an actual victim or even in a training scenario, 3 people make it a lot easier to move, you know, the dead weight of a body versus 2 people, unless it's just tight quarters. But secondary search, so this is, you've done your primary search, now you're doing your secondary search, whether it's you or the next team. It's going to be a slow, thorough search conducted after fire is under control. So you remember the primary search can be done before or during fire suppression, and it's very quick, rapid, okay? So now this is gonna be slow down, more thorough, after the fire is under control, ensures that no occupants were overlooked during the primary search, often conducted by different personnel than the primary search, so your next team, give your first team a break. Do not remove SCBA until it is determined to safe. I messed that all up. Do not remove SCBA until it is determined safe to do so. So just like when we're working with structure fire, just because the fire's out doesn't mean that it's safe to take off our SCBA. We've got to wait until we've done air monitoring and we know it's safe for us. Review question: what is the difference between a primary and a secondary search? So what are the main differences between the primary search and the secondary search?
Primary is intended to rapidly determine the location of victims.
Okay, so it's a very quick search, right?
It can be performed during or before the fire operation conducts.
Okay, yeah, before or during the handling the fire. And then the secondary search is what? What's the difference between the primary search and the secondary search?
It's low and thorough pace. And
Yes.
it's taking place after the fire's been controlled.
Yes, so after the fire's been extinguished, it's slower, more thorough. Basically, you're making sure that no one got overlooked and you've searched, we'll just say every nook and cranny and under every rock, right? Okay, search methods. Each department has its own procedures and specialized methods. Specialized methods are oriented search, wide area search, searching using thermal imaging. Search methods, a left-hand search pattern. So basically what that means is that every turn you make is to the left. So if you come in, start off on the left side of the wall, then you're just going to follow the left side of that wall around each room, and as you come out, you still stick to the left side. And whether you start with a left-hand search or right-hand search, you will always eventually make your way all the way around if you stick with that. Searching the fire floor. Start search as close to the fire as possible, then work back towards the entrance. Proceed as directly as possible from the entry to reach a point nearest the fire. Hose line or search line will provide a way to remain oriented. So why would you want to start as close to the fire as you can?
Because it's gonna get hotter and hotter, so you can get that done quickly, then you can work yourself away from the fire as the fire grows, potentially into those.
Correct.
And I'm assuming another thought process, at least I would, is that's the most dangerous spot. And the quicker you can get to those victims, the better their chance of survival is.
Exactly, survivability. So closer to the fire, more heat, more smoke, more gases. So you start there, and you might be a victim that has 30 seconds left to live. And if you start at the fire, you've got the chance to save that person. Whereas if you started at the front door and it took you a couple minutes to get there, it's already too late. So, yep. All right, search methods. So there's the two search team methods. So this team looks like they came in on a right-hand search, and this team came in on a left-hand search. So this type of structure, what's that make you think of?
Nursing home.
Right, a nursing home, maybe a hotel motel, where you've got hallways with rooms. Okay, this is the same type of structure with one team. So they came in here on a left-hand search, and you also notice they marked the doors as they went out. So think about how long it's taken to get to this point with one team versus the same structure with two teams searching both sides of the hallway.
Something else to think about in these searches is, having wedges and making sure that that door stays open and doesn't close on you.
Yeah.
And then you find your way right back past it, and then you're disoriented because you're like, I know we've made this room. And also, like if you're in a motel or something like that, those doors have closers. So they'll shut on you, and then if it's a completely blind, you know, if you can see a little bit, you would know when you're back to the door, but
Right.
if not, then.
Well, and also on that note, most of the hotels, motels, if not all of them at this point, they're all key card, right? So if you don't have a key card in your hand, let's say a team goes in, the door closes behind them, something happens, the next team comes in, they don't have a key card.
Yeah.
So you gotta consider that stuff too, so. All right. Those big buildings like that would be a nightmare, especially if you didn't have the personnel to really search it the way you should. All right, control egress passageways. So stage a firefighter at the door of the search room to control the door. So that might be an option to using a wedge or something like that. Corbin is, if you've got a 3-person team, keep one person at the doorway.
Right.
Control the door. Close doors adjacent. Close doors to adjacent rooms after they are searched. So search the room, close the door. Position hose teams to cool accumulated gases. Use thermal imagers to search for victims or fires. Get low to the floor to perform a survey. So thermal layering and buoyancy of smoke produce a clear area just above the floor level. So we talked about the neutral plane. The higher that neutral plane is, the more visibility you have. As that gets lower and lower, you start to lose your visibility. Victims' obstacles or layout of the room may be identified quickly from their perspective, or from this perspective. So getting down low where you can physically see, not just see through your TIC. This is something that probably doesn't get talked about enough in training. Walk upright if there is minimal smoke. How many times have we gone into a house and you're crawling because we're taught to crawl, right? We're taught to get low, stay below the heat and smoke.
I'm vice versa. If I can stand, I'm standing.
Right.
Well, it's faster, you won't fatigue as quickly.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and the fatiguing part is a bigger issue than anything else to me, because crawling around my knees, I'm done in about 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
My legs won't work anymore.
Right.
And if I can stand and I can walk, I can go, you know, at least 23 minutes.
And do the 3 additional.
Yeah. Well,
He must have pointed on return.
I mean, I've had, you're on the front porch and you've already got fire and heavy smoke over your head. Well, obviously you're not gonna walk with your head in that. But you come to a house that's, there's smoke, but it's not banking down yet, it's not heavy, the heat hasn't built up. Yeah, get in there on your feet, get through that initial search as quick as you can, standing up. If conditions start to change and you need to get down on your knees, that's fine, but if you don't have to, just keep that in mind. Warning, if you encounter extreme heat or cannot see your feet through the smoke, you should not be walking upright. So I guess that's your indicator. If the smoke starts to get to where you can no longer see your feet, time to get down on your knees, right? Or crouch down, whichever you need to do. Search methods. Victims may be found in paths of egress and areas where they seek shelter. So safe havens, or it could be closets, under a bed, you know, kids hide in places when they're scared. Search perimeter of each room, reach completely under beds and furniture. And as you see in that picture, what he's doing with his axe, you know, Corbin likes to grab the axe. Well, that's perfect for doing a sweep. You know, I'm the guy grabbing the halligan. If I start sweeping that halligan around, I'm gonna hurt somebody. I mean, that might be better than leaving them there, but axe is more ideal for that. It's a softer handle to sweep under with. So you want to reach completely under beds and furniture. Use that axe handle to do a sweep. Place tool against the wall and extend arm or leg to search the middle of the room. So your wingspan when you're searching only reaches so far, right? And you're supposed to stay in contact with the wall. Well, you can stay in contact with the wall and sweep with the tool, or you can put the tool handle against the wall and then sweep with your hands.
I've always only been taught to put your hand on the wall.
Yeah.
Tool on the wall.
Same. So.
I would feel more comfortable with my hand, just
So
the
would
fact that you can feel, like, if something changed, you're like, oh, that's not baseboard anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's not,
Yeah.
there's something that doesn't feel right if you,
Mhm.
you know, kind of go.
Well, I guess also maybe in this situation, so like your hands against the wall and you're sweeping and you hit something. Well, you may not be able to tell what you're hitting with your handle. Switch them real quick and then you can get out there in the fields that victim, that's just a pile of clothes.
Yeah, you can always switch back and forth.
Some good things to keep in mind. So, limited visibility, may need to touch items to identify them and the type of room. It's almost like I read this already. You may need to touch items to identify them and the type of room. Search all sides of an object. Never move an object. Report obscured vision to the IC. And that goes back to changing conditions and all that. You know, if you say you walk in, you're doing a search standing, but then conditions start to change when you do have to get down. So your vision's starting to be obscured, the smoke's banking down, that kind of stuff. Those are all things you want to report back to your IC. Keep them informed on the changing conditions. Use a thermal imaging camera to operate according to your SOPs, which we have standard operating procedures. We just don't have them in writing, but we kind of know what's expected of us as far as that goes. Slowly scan at floor level, then a higher level. So you're going to have better visibility at your lower level, but you might have furniture or something that's in the way, so then you go higher and scan again. Manually search beneath and behind furniture. Excuse me. Open doors to scan inside closets and cabinets. Screen may white out if it detects high levels of heat. Allow readjustment time before proceeding. So I've had that happen where you're scanning around and then suddenly you hit an area where it's hotter and it just kind of whites out for a few seconds and then it adjusts and comes back down. Maybe if you reach to the seat of the fire, you might have that happen. So. Maintain radio contact and report progress. Close doors to uninvolved rooms. Clear unused hose lines or equipment from egress pathways. Oriented search method. So, oriented search method. So they're coming in the doorway right here. It looks like this person's probably maintaining the doorway. And you've got your two rescuers. They're staying in contact with the wall. They're staying in contact with each other. And then they're using their tools, which, short light pole is actually a really good idea too. But using their tools to sweep. And then as they work their way around the wall and continue to do that, you can see this is actually going to reach all the way to the center of the room, doing it that way in this type of search. So, of course, that's going to depend on the size of the room and everything, but
It seems to me that you would have to somewhat know what that room was before you ever entered it.
Yeah.
Before that you would go that route right there.
Yeah, I'm not
You'd
gonna
have
do
to
that.
know, you'd have to know, okay, this room has nothing in it. It's just an opener, you know what I mean, like,
yeah,
to use that technique right there, you would already have to know what you're doing.
So like
because
a structure you're familiar with, or maybe you've done
So if you really knew, then you could get one of the long pipe holes, they could relay.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I mean, that's not, if you were doing a, say like a factory or something like that, you know, it's not a bad idea at all. Search team with a search line. So if you're using a search line, you need to have a search line anchor point. So you can see here they've got it tied around this street sign, and they've gone in this way, and I see 2 ropes. So maybe they've got 2 teams, one team's on the blue rope, one team's on the brown.
Hot and cold.
Yeah, hot and cold, or they could be left hand, right hand, depending on citrus. So we've talked about like if it's a residence, you know, almost every residence has a banister or, you know, a front porch with like a pole or something that you can tie off to. If nothing else, you can tie off to a tool that you leave outside the door. Just something to kind of use as an anchor point. You can see they've come in here on right-hand search. Front team has the line, so he's the lead. And you've got a navigator. Looks like they're holding a TIC probably. And then you've got a second team behind them, and they've got their hand tools, and they're searching. So, yeah, so your navigator's got the TIC, so they're trying to see what they can see to navigate. We probably wouldn't have that many personnel available to do a search normally. A wide area search method is using ropes, rings, and knots. So you've got a rope with knots at certain intervals. Looks like this one's at every 20 feet. So 20, 40, 60. You see at 20 feet there's 1 knot, and at 40 feet there's 2 knots, 3 knots at 60, 40, etc. You can just keep going. So if you're in an area, a jurisdiction where you've got a lot of big buildings, and searching big buildings is something that you would do on the regular, this would be a very good way to have your rope bag set up. And you can have these rings and an anchor. So these rings give you a place to clip in an additional rope to tag off of that line. So maybe you could take this rope and go right down the hallway and then use those rings to tag in additional search ropes to go into individual rooms or areas. Does that make sense? I've not actually seen one of those. Our rope is just, there's no knots in it or anything except at the very end.
It would be a little bit challenging to, I've never really used a rope, always had like an 1.5 inches. An 1.5 inches, you can kind of leave an 1.5 inches for a second, but it's right there, it's easy to find.
Yeah.
If you had a rope, you're gonna have to hold on it, you got axe in this thing, you probably need a flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you're trying to, if you could clip into that somewhere on your body, keep that hand free, so that you could feel, work, and not lose it, I think you'd be way better off and using a rope
That's a very
by
good
clipping on somehow.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And then your only limitation would be the length of the rope, so, I mean,
Right.
but yeah, no, it's good thinking. Wide area search method offering. So this is what we were talking about. So you got your main search line, and you got a knot with a ring. You can clip into that. So this guy is going this way around the room, which that's just a cutoff. So it can keep going however long. This guy clips in, and he can start going the other direction. So I mean, that's another option on.
Will these types of searches be on our practicals?
There is a primary search on the practicals, but we're not necessarily using a rope with rings or anything.
Okay, I was gonna say.
We'll go over it after we finish the classroom portion. We'll have a test, and then before we do the practicals, we'll go over practicals together.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Okay, VIS method. So the V stands for vent. So to preface this, you know, we talked about tentatively and how you can, so like you come up to a structure fire and let's say you're the first one there. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna do your 360, right? You're supposed to. So as you're doing your 360, if you can see in this room and you can see that it's still fairly clear, the door's closed, it's pretty good chance that someone in there could survive, right? So you do your 360, you see, you know, a couple bedrooms that are searchable. So what you're gonna do is use the VIS method, and you're going to vent, which as soon as you vent, then you're on a clock, because you just introduced air, so you've only got so much time before, you know, the flow path, and the smoke starts to enter that room, oxygen starts to feed the fire, that type of thing. So vent, a window or a door, whatever you have access to get into that room. Then you enter the room, start your search, isolate. So when you come to a door, close the door, and that's going to stop some of the smoke and stuff coming in. So that's the isolate. And then the search, continue your search, hopefully find a victim if they're in there. Looks like this victim is in a closet or a bathroom. So basically what that allows you to do is from the outside of the structure to do a quick compartmentalized search. So maybe the whole house isn't searchable, but you've got 1 or 2 bedrooms that you can see from the outside that's still survivable, still tenable, that you can do this quick vent, enter, isolate, search method to rescue victims. So vent, enter, isolate, search. It's a rapid search of individual rooms accessed from the exterior, usually chosen when there are possible victims in a survivable area. Should only be initiated after size up. Rooms involved with fire or that show indications of backdraft or flashover should not be searched using vent, enter, isolate, search. So again, these are tenable, survivable areas that you want to try to use this method. Only use for survivable areas that are unlikely to have fire extinction when ventilated. So that's the VIS method. Caution, crew integrity is key to successfully completing vent, enter, isolate search. Verbal or physical contact is necessary to allow the searcher to leave through the entry point. So basically meaning if you come in through a window, you're going to need to go back out through that same point. So you need to stay in contact with your team. Like if you got a team member that stays at the window with a ladder or whatever the situation. All right, review questions. Number 1, how do thermal imagers aid in search operations?
What's the secret to smoke?
I think they make it a lot quicker.
Gives you visibility in situations where you don't have visibility.
They do not replace your senses, but they add to them.
Exactly. What is the difference between a wide area search and an oriented search? So they covered that, or we covered that. It's not super clear. So an oriented search is more of a bringing contents, you know, like more like a house. Okay, it's more like a house type structure, whereas a wide area search is a bigger open area, like a church, a factory, that type of thing, more spread out, where you're using the ropes, the rings, and the knots to cover more area. Yeah, longer tools where you can reach farther, that kind of thing. So, what does the VIS acronym describe?
Vent, enter, isolate, search.
Okay. All right, very good. Discussion questions. Give an example of a situation that might require the use of an oriented search technique. Give an example of a situation that would require the use of a wide area search technique. So we've already talked about that, named a few different things. So, all right. I believe this is our last section. Yep, it is. So victim removal. All right. Describe victim removal methods. Victim self-evacuation. We've all participated in this type of victim removal. Where we go into a building that's, you know, they've got a fire alarm, but everyone hasn't evacuated yet, and we basically escort people out through the hallways, stairways, you know, get them outside the building until we know what we've got. So you're gonna direct them to, you're gonna assist the occupants by directing them to an alternate exit. Close doors as you go to maintain integrity of exit path and establish a safe haven. What duties might a firefighter have if a victim is able to self-evacuate? So what might your role be in self-evacuation?
Direct them to where the exits are?
Correct.
Maintain the integrity of the exit.
Correct. Now this is just us specifically, but is it a good idea to use the elevators in situations like that?
No.
Right. It'd be better to use I'm thinking like the high rises that we have. Even though you've got people that live there and they're not gonna wanna use the steps, or maybe they can't use the steps very well, if you're not sure what the situation is, what the emergency is, it's better to stay away from the elevators so that you don't get victims trapped or even rescuers trapped in the elevators in case you lose power. So, okay, shelter in place. Shelter in place is used when the hazard is minor. It's safer to keep victims inside. Victims are incapacitated and cannot be moved. Limited staffing to assist with evacuation. Structure can provide protective barrier between victim and hazard. When do we usually hear about shelter in place? What training have we had where we talk about that a lot?
Well, like, Pleasant Valley Manor has the different, if you had fire on one end of one of those, I would want to shelter them in place inside, but on the other, one of the other hallways or,
Yep.
you know, instead of getting them out together or whatever.
Right. So, yeah, like it says here, commonly used in hospitals, nursing homes, correctional facilities, high rises, high hazard industrial sites. The first thing that comes to mind for me with shelter in place is like hazmat.
Yeah.
You know, you've got your initial incident, you've got your estimated area that's gonna be affected, and then your wind direction. Well, you may have a nursing home that it would be better just to close the doors, close the vents, keep those people in there because they're gonna be safer than trying to evacuate. So, one example of that, when it's better to shelter in place. So this is sheltering in place inside of the actual fire building. Looks like they've got a room here that's tenable, so get everybody in that room. Maybe they weren't able to make it to a fire exit because they're blocked by the fire, and so you get everybody into an area where they can survive until they can be rescued. In what type of situation would sheltering in place be used instead of evacuation? So we just discussed that a little bit. You know, a hazmat incident occurs, or you know, especially like a jail. You're not going to just. I mean, it's no small process to get people out of a jail safely without them escaping. You know, you gotta have armed transport in place, that kind of stuff, so it might be another situation where it's better to shelter in place. Victim removal techniques. Some of these will be in our practical skills as well. Victim removal required when conditions prevent self-evacuation or sheltering in place. Victims are directly threatened. Firefighter duties. Extinguish fire that has cut them off from an exit, provide alternate exit pathway, remove debris from a pinned victim, carry injured or unconscious victims to safety. So these are some of the responsibilities, duties that we would have. Injured victims should not be moved until addressed and treated unless in danger. So you can see there, it looks like he's probably holding C-spine, so that victim's possibly injured, some kind of neck or head trauma. If he doesn't have to be removed at that moment, it's better to keep him in place until maybe you've got a backboard and a neck collar. So it's just that one situation. But, never pull a victim sideways, so like you wouldn't want to grab them by their belt and start pulling them sideways. You're going to be hitting their head. They're not going to fit through doorways. Use proper lifting techniques, and we'll talk about some of those. Safety guidelines. Lift as a team. Focus on keeping your balance. Support the victim's head and neck. Avoid unnecessary jostling. Never drag or carry a victim through the hazard zone unless there is no other choice. Victim removal techniques. Okay, so these are the different drags, some of the different drags and carries, and we'll be demonstrating some of those when we do our practical skills. There's the incline drag, top left, so this is where you take the victim that's lying down on their back, you set him up in a sitting position, and then you see how he's got his left hand or his right hand, sorry, on the left wrist, and then his right hand on the left wrist, and that's how you basically are holding them in a cross arm position underneath their arms, and then you pick them up, raise them up to where just their feet are dragging, and you're in a standing position. So that's the incline drag. Then the extremities carry, where first rescuer grabs underneath the knees, second rescuer does the same as the incline drag, and then you both stand up at the same time, carry the victim out. And there's the webbing drag.
That guy looks like he's in horrible pain.
He does, doesn't he? Got a heck of a look on his face. We'll go over the webbing drag in the fire bay here in a little while. There's a correct way to do that.
There's no slumbers.
Yeah, we'll demonstrate on that.
Sweet, I can lay down in class.
So there's the cradle and arms or the lift carry, which obviously works well for the smaller victims. The seat lift carry. You see how that works? You got each of you have an arm under the knees, and each of you have an arm around the back. So they're seated position.
That's all right.
And then you have the litter carry using a litter basket or a backboard. So, that type of carry is what we typically do on like a vehicle accident where we need to stabilize them on a backboard. So, all right. What methods can be used to remove victims from a hazardous situation?
Litter carry.
Okay. What methods? So you've got drags and carries, and then what are other
Shelter
methods?
in place.
Hmm?
Shelter in place? Yeah, I know it says remove victims, but
Right.
shelter in place.
Well, it's still
Shelter in
removing somebody
place.
from a hazardous situation.
Exactly. Yeah, either way, you're getting them out of the hazardous situation in one way or another. So you got shelter in place, and then we got the different drags and carries. All right. Are there any questions about this content?
Not at the moment, I'm sure there will be coming up soon.
So that is the end of the classroom, or at least the slideshow presentation portion. You guys want to take a break before you take the test, or are you ready to jump right in?
My brain ain't gonna get any better.
Okay. So close your books and put away your materials. Does everybody have a writing utensil?
No.
Shh. Sorry, if you don't, I will provide that.
After the test, do we just give you the test, or do we?
So after the test, I will collect them. When you're done taking the test, you can actually step out and take a break if you want. Just leave your test face down on the table, and I will grade the tests, and then I'll have you guys come back in and give you your test, and we can talk about anything that we missed, if you want to go over.
Okay.
It is a pass or fail, so try not to fail.
What happened when I fell?
If you do believe you get 2 chances.
Oh, we'll do it again.
So if you only want to do it once, then all you have to do is pay attention. Or you already got it, sorry.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'm just
I needed one with a little rubber end.
the styles on it.
This one's got blue.
Okay.
Row, cookie.
On your test, please put your name
Dylan Summers.
and the date, which is the 11th, February 11th at the top. Did I give you 2 tests, Rick? That felt kind of thick.
Go in mine if you don't mind.
Did I just give you 1?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll say if I gave you 2, it's just that you have a second shot. Okay, I'm gonna close the door and we'll be quiet until everybody's finished, all right? Yeah, you guys free to do whatever you want, I'll get them graded and I'll,
Bottom one of those chairs.
I mean, you can be in here, it's fine.
Yep. I can't leave those things alone when I'm sitting.
I don't know what to say, I've never checked mine.
I'll be sitting there doing, I'll catch my, I got my hand on both of them, and I'm pulling them down, and that's when I'm spinning them. And I'm like, man, do that one.
You guys were in grade school, did your teachers ever do the smiley face on your papers?
No, always got frowny faces, and like, you idiot.
I usually got, come see me after class.
Nice.
My parents always got a phone call after my test, I'm like, your kid's an idiot. You better, be prepared for them to live at home forever, because
Staring hard enough.
Everything knows that I'm in that kitchen.
I know. A lot of people are kind of, were asking me for that, like, why didn't they ever want a picture?
Well, two smiley faces so far.
Yeah, that's good, but that one was military.
well, that was planned.
I figured, I didn't want the rest of you guys to look bad, they'll be like, why is everyone else so ugly, so attractive?
My mom told me the other day.
And you were the most
But I was
special
the
boy.
I was the best looking one in the picture. My mom told me that. I mean, she wouldn't lie to me, or she wouldn't be, you know, just being honest. No, she's being honest. All I can gather.
Yeah, well, specialist, handsomest little boy in that picture. Don't let no one tell you different, is that what she said? Follow up. If you want to know something crazy, the last year's picture, my mom said I was the best looking one out of
She said I was the best looking one on that one too.
So whose mom's lying?
I don't know.
It ain't mine.
Gotta be her.
All right, let me give these back to you guys and look them over.
Sure, the camera's still on.
I need a restroom break real quick and then we'll go over, okay? Do it.
Ooh, I got a smiley face.
Oh,
You got a smiley face?
one on this.
What?
I got a smiley face. Was it bad? Just smiley face?
Yeah.
Oh man, mine says you were the best student in there.
Before we don't have it. I have it for you. Which one did you miss it one?
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
Where should you start a search fire for? I said,
At the door.
I said entrance.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't decide whether, because I knew we talked about, and I was like, I'm starting it at the entrance, that's where you would.
That's where you would normally do it.
Well, I mean, I think what they're getting at is, like, if you went in the.
What is the
front door,
priority?
and this fire's back here, you're not gonna start your search here, you're gonna go to here and then start your search. I think that's what they meant, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I just put it.
It's okay, I think you should change your smiley face to a frowny face.
You know, hey, if I get 9 out of 10 questions right, I'll be there. For me.
I got 100%.
I'm not the. Well, you should
I
get
cheated
100%.
on
Favorite dinosaur.
You should get 100%. Chase told me I was the dinosaur again the other day.
Did he really?
Well, he said the old guys. He went off on, well, if we do this, if.
Every time I hear dinosaur, I think of the Hank Williams song, because I'm a dinosaur. Should have died out of a long time before. What?
Hello?
All right.
Hey.
it's the 13th, never mind.
Okay. For what?
It's, drummer.
Really?
I do,
Probably. Those things should really be on the calendar. We're on someone's class.
I agree.
So,
I said those things should really be on the calendar.
I really should.
Sorry. No, that's fine. Okay, you guys did really good, everybody passed.
Some of us barely.
Some people paid better attention. Anything you guys want to discuss as far as anything you missed or you weren't sure about?
I'd say I cheated pretty effectively.
Well, since you're over there by yourself. But if you guys are good and don't need to discuss anything, then we'll look at our practical skills and get ready to go do that. Okay. Pass those out.
And we do need our turnouts?
Pardon?
We do need our turnouts?
Yeah, let me give you the skill sheets, and we'll talk about the practical skills. I need to collect your tests so I can get your scores and everything.
There's that pen back too.
Okay, well, hang on to it for a moment, so you can just go ahead and.
Must probably need another one for you, man.
Two of it.
I was saying, unless Corbin needs another one for his Judy pants.
Need to put a couple extras at station two, we don't have them. We went through our little extra stack in a hurry.
Pretty quick, yeah.
Where they all went, but.
All those guys that don't come prepared. Okay, so I told you before, we've got 3 practicals that are part of this instruction. So these are, they're stapled together. These are all the practicals. So you can read over those. Read over each one and notice that there's certain points that you have to hit on each one. So the first one, skill sheet number 34, primary or secondary search. So operating as a team of 2, wearing full PPE, including the SCBA, you'll be on air, and what we'll do is turn the Nomex around so that your face is covered. Simulating a low visibility environment, so you won't have a hand lantern or anything either. You shall demonstrate entering a smoke-filled hostile environment with an enclosed structure with multiple rooms to search for and locate a victim. Full equipment, including SCBA, shall be worn. I've already got the room set up and I've got a victim placed. So in this particular practical, these are the things that you need to do. You need to evaluate the structure and establish a search plan, or a search pattern, sorry. So left-hand search, right-hand search, wide area search, oriented, that type of thing. Initiate accountability system. So for us, that's our dog tags. So we'll tag in with IC, right? Check doors for heat, if closed, before entering the rooms. Searches the structure using selected search pattern. Calls out for potential victims and stops periodically to listen for sounds. Completely searches the room and controls all doors while search is conducted. Updates the IC on progress. Marks all rooms that have been searched. I'm going to have you simulate that, so you can just take your finger and swipe the door.
Are we simulating talking to the IC, basically just talking out loud, or?
No, we'll just go on a tack channel and we'll do that. So. Monitors air supply, ensuring adequate air is available for self-rescue. Locates victim and removes victim from structure using appropriate carry or drag. In this scenario, we're just gonna do a drag, so. Updates IC of task completion and give a personal accountability report. So, any questions on that?
Carry or drag, I'm assuming we're not doing that. We're doing a search, we're gonna be on the knees. We can do the whole grab them by the collar. Okay.
Yeah, this particular victim has a harness already, so.
Okay.
So that is the first one. The lifts and carries, there's, let's see, 1, 2, maybe go over 3. Yeah, so, this is all, it counts as one skill, it's 2 sheets. So, there's the incline drag, 2-person extremities carry, and then the webbing drag. So, we'll again do those. Student wearing full protective equipment and SCBA, and giving a patient or prop weighing between 100 and 190 pounds shall demonstrate moving the patient a minimum of 20 feet, using a 2-person extremities carry, a webbing drag, and an incline drag, without compromising his or her own respiratory protection, meaning you're on SCBA, on air, and you can't dislodge your regulator, dislodge your mask in the process of removing the victim. So, which you won't if you do it correctly. So, we have our training dummy. That's not very considered as a dummy, but we have Fred. So we'll be rescuing Fred. What we'll do, since you're going to be using a drag or a carry in your primary search and rescue, we'll do the drags and the carries first. We'll do those practicals first, so you can practice those and use one of those to remove your victim. So, and that's it. We get through those practicals, and I'll be evaluating you as you do them. Check all the boxes. It's a pass or fail, which everyone will pass because we'll do it till we get it right. And we'll do each role, I believe. All of the carries, everyone has to be at the head on each carry. So if it's a 2-person carry, you'll have to do it twice so that each person can have the head roll. But other than that, we'll get through the practicals and then we will be done. So, you guys need to take a break or just grab your.
Just need to grab my turnouts and hurry.
So, yep, grab your turnout gear and we'll meet in the fire bay. I moved the truck out, so just out in the fire bay where 15 would park. We'll stage there. Okay.
I don't know what he weighs, but that's a size.
Your old man showing complaining about how heavy he is.
No, he is heavy.
Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate the proper procedure for the incline drag. So, place the victim on their back, the way they are. Kneel at the victim's head. If you kneel like this, it's a lot easier to stand back up than if you get on your knees. So, support the victim's head and neck. You're going to lift the victim's body to the sitting position. He's missing his underwear. Then with your right arm, you reach under and grab your left wrist. And then with your left hand, you reach under and grab the right wrist, which is just pretty much impossible to do. So if you just do this, that's okay, because I'm not flexible enough to grab this. But, and then from there, go to a standing position, so it's just his feet dragging. And then you walk backwards, and it's got to be 20 feet. So,
Leg day was yesterday, I don't know if I can.
you can do it. I believe in you. And he's filthy. So,
Huge.
there's a line right here, and a line right here, and that's actually 20 feet. So you're this line, lay him down, the next person can pick him up there and go back the other way, and everybody's gotta do it once, so. Go ahead and, finish gearing up, and you'll wanna go on air when it's your turn, and do the drag, and I'll be evaluating as you go. You need me to turn you on, or you got it? You need me to turn you on?
Is the instructor?
Yes.
Will you hold on to my glasses?
I will set them on the water. That'll do it better. You don't want me holding it.
Are you going first?
So who's going first?
I can. I didn't know who.
Dylan? Okay. I just gotta write your name on the skill sheets.
Some of that young buck strength,
Right?
you know?
Yeah.
Some of that early 20s strength,
Uh-huh.
you know? You know what I'm talking about? I couldn't hear you. I'm not saying anything either. Yep, we need it.
Those masks sound like you're on air even when you're not.
I don't know what to do to get it to stop.
On these, the only thing, all you gotta do is wiggle this.
Right.
Because it's all in here, it's not in the pack anymore. Dylan, whenever you're ready.
All right.
You lay Fred back down.
Station 3. All right,
Okay.
grab it, bud.
Okay. Correct.
Normally, I'm gonna grab his wrist when I go under. When he doesn't hard, him, I'll go under him. Left arm. Back.
Okay.
Well. Everybody upside down. Compromise my integrity. That's done. I compromise my integrity.
All right, so you gotta do it again. So, same thing. So did you guys see that? He was good right until he went to lay him down and then caught his toe. So keep an eye on that. So he's gonna do it again. Good job, good job.
Well, I'm so glad I got to go back out.
All right, sit him down. There you go. Good job. All right, your light's on. Okay, good work. Next.
I can't believe that just happened.
I can.
Make sure this thing's snug. I think I like them. I'm sorry, but I really don't. I hope he's not in too bad shape, because, you know, it's taking me a while to get over there. On there?
Yeah. Okay, make sure you guys are checking each other's PPE, so that everything's on. Good? You're good to go.
Good job.
Yeah.
I messed up so the rest of you can learn.
Right. That's what it's all about.
Those are not my glasses. Those are your old man glasses.
But that looked like you pretty see.
No. That can not be a good call.
Okay, set it down. All right. Good job. You can come off there. Okay, so now everyone's done the incline drag, so the next one we're going to do is the two-person. So if you guys want to
We need our own that phone?
Hmm?
Do we need our own that phone?
No.
please? But I'm not putting it on.
Okay. No, the main thing is just that your airway isn't compromised, so that's why you have to have your air pack on and SCBA on, but no, Nomex is fine. So what I'm gonna do, one of you get at the head and one of you get at the feet, and I'll walk you through the roll, okay? And then you'll do a carry, and then you don't have to yet. I'll walk you through the, yeah, that's all right. Okay, so I'll walk you through the steps, and then you'll do the carry, and then you'll trade places and do the carry back, okay?
Okay.
Alright. So, two-person extremities carry. So, place the victim on their back. Firefighter 1 kneels at the victim's head facing the feet. So just like you're going to do the incline drag, it's the same on your roll. Firefighter number 1 supports the head and neck, lifts the victim to the sitting position, and then you do the exact same, okay? And then you, number 2, adjust the victim's legs to provide enough room to kneel and grasp underneath the victim's knees, and you're going to be facing that way also. Facing the same as firefighter 1, both using proper lifting techniques, meaning lifting with your legs. You stand and move the victim to the safe location. So, make sense?
Yep.
Good to go?
So we're both facing the same direction.
You'll both be facing the same direction. So he's actually going to lead. So you'll get him in position, and then when you're ready to stand up, he's going to get a hold under the knees, between the legs, and you'll stand up together, and then walk to the line. So whenever you guys are ready.
Ready?
Okay. Very good.
Wait. Put it on there.
If you grab, yeah, about the easiest place to get a hold of. Just don't pinch your fingers. I think we need to make a hose dummy again. Good job, guys. Yeah, I think picture about that. That's all right. All right, so now you're just gonna trade positions, do that again. So, yeah. Good job, guys. I know he's he needs to go on the diet and get some flexibility. So, you kind of have to grab his foreman or grab the bar or something. It's not really anything. There you go. Hey, that's good, guys. Alright. Good job. Good job. Alright, Corbin, you can go ahead and take your mask off if you want to stay on and sit
I will.
in. So you're up now, Brett. You need to do the head roll, and then you'll set him down, and then switch places and do the feet roll. Okay. You have any questions? Yeah, spin him around. It's very awkward, dude. It doesn't bend.
Well, I kept hitting him with my pack, so I couldn't get under his
knees.
because they were too far behind me. And I wasn't flexible enough to.
Good job, guys. Well, it's maybe lighter.
I've hated that thing since day one.
Oh, just missing with the good side. Yeah, I mean, it's not great. Come off there and rest for a minute. We'll be right in.
I squeezed. I mean, I squeezed the daylights out of that thing, it would not come off there. Like, I could do it, it squeezes as hard as it squeezes, and it still doesn't want to come off.
Had fixed training props on the resume. Hardware.
Let's start the deal.
Yep. Fixing the crack.
It is, it really is.
But the thing about that dummy, and maybe that's why he's the way he is he's difficult. And it ain't gonna be easy. You got all the. Well, that's true, but I mean, honestly, if we had someone that could do the role, it would be easier to have a light help. Just not one of us and turn out weird. But I actually thought about asking you to have your kids come, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna get them off the job, so I can stuff doing this. Honestly, I don't know, but, I mean, it would be easier, honestly, to have a live victim with some of these lifts, because this thing is just so stiff. There we go. This is a professional grade clip.
Right.
What's that doing?
Right.
See this going down. All right, he's back together. So now you need to do the head roll, and Dylan will help you get your feet, and then we'll be done with that.
Try front on that.
This is by far the worst one. What do you think, something? What I was saying earlier, I think we can go back to like making another coach then,
Yeah.
because they're flexible.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's what, yeah, you're gonna have to lean his upper body back. That way he can, there you go. Just stick your fingers in that, yeah, right in there, and whatever you can get a hold of. It's good, good teamwork, guys. It's a pain, but you're almost done, and this is the hardest part.
Up, up, up. Let's go. Come on.
You got it. You got it. Don't give up.
Up, come on.
That's a really awkward. Okay, that's good, guys. That's good. Good work. You kind of left him in a precarious. Yeah. Okay. Rest for a minute. Take a deep breath. I'm gonna turn the camera off. Ting. Okay. So this is the webbing drag. I need a little bit bigger loop of webbing, but basically the victim's body is inside the webbing, and you're gonna take the loop down here underneath his rump, bring up towards the chest, and then you go under the armpit on each side and grab a loop like this. Then you take these two loops and put them through the middle one, which gives you two handles. So his whole body is in a harness. And then you'll do your drag from this line to that line. And then that's it. Turn it around and reset it for the next person, okay?
Okay. Is this on air?
It's on air. You don't want to compromise your airway, so just like we were doing before.
I go first again.
Whatever you want to do.
No, I know you're offering me for.
Oh, I already had.
You said.
All right, so it's reset. I just kicked something. So you guys have any questions about that? No? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Whoever's ready to go first, jump up there and go. Wait, no. Ready when you are. Joints. Not there yet. Steve. Okay. Yep, that's good. Good job. All right, you can come off air. I got a 14 or 15 foot webbing. Maybe like 20 feet. I was thinking, you know, if he's 7 foot tall, 14 feet would be enough, but it's really not. Okay, ready when you are. Good. That's it. I apologize, I didn't turn him around for you.
You're good. Come with me, you giant bird.
That's good. Yep, good job. Okay, you guys can come off there, take a break for a minute. Get a drink of water. We just got one practical left. Everybody doing okay?
Well. Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, I'm gonna grab your tags. Okay, all right, I've got your tags, guys.
All right, so we're gonna be doing a right-hand walker. Okay?
Okay, right hand search, copy.
All right. So, team one to command, we're gonna be initiating search. We're gonna be doing a right-hand walker.
Copy that, right hand search.
All right, door's good. Gonna mark it.
Go ahead and shake.
I do believe I have a victim. You have a hand? Yes. All right. Entry team to command, we found a victim, will be leaving the building now. You want a guide?
Copy that, located victim and exiting the building with the victim.
All right, follow me?
Come on out. You can hit it.
All right.
Good job, guys.
Good job, okay. Now what do you do? Do your report.
Entry team to command, 2 cars exit the building, 1 patient removed.
Copy that, victim removed and all personnel accounted for. Good job. All right.
Ready?
Okay, so somebody trade roles with Brett, and you'll run through that scenario one more time, and
All right,
that way, since you led last time, why don't you let him lead?
Yep.
Yep.
You got a radio?
Yep.
So one thing I noticed myself that I need to do better on is I'm moving with my left hand and I should have been still touching the wall. So remember that I'm okay.
What's that?
What are you doing? So when you turn around on the right hand, you're supposed to put your left hand on the wall, go backwards.
Oh, shoot.
And I have hold on to him.
Yeah, you don't have to go on there for that. It's fine.
No, not that.
So for training purposes, you can do it right.
All right. Okay. When you guys are ready, I've got your tags, and we're on VTAC 12.
That's a good song.
Yeah, they work better when they're turned on. Okay, you guys are tagged in, so just discuss your search and then do your thing.
All right, so I'm wanting to do a right hand search. All right, right hand wall search. Right hand wall search. You accompany me on to my rear, on my left side, please. All right.
Okay, make sure you make radio contact. Let me know what's going on.
Where's my radio? So I need to do the radio now? I've got my radio right here. It's hard to manipulate through my coat.
You want me to hook it on your?
Yeah.
You can hook it right here, and it's right there by your. And you just reach up.
If it'll stay, I don't know. Yep.
All right, you got a tool? Yeah. All right. Man. Entities command, we're about to start making entry search for victims. Call 2.
Copy beginning search. Right hand or left hand search?
My apologies, sir. Right hand search.
Copy.
Left hand.
You're just gonna control the door for him.
Say again? I feel something. I don't know if it is someone. I found a head. And hip. Yep. I'll grab him out. If you want to grab my foot and turn it around. Hold on. Entity in command, we believe we found a victim. Turn the victim around and bring him outside.
Copy.
I gotta hold them. Alright, I got the bullet. Alright. Call me on up. Yep. Yep, good.
All right, good job, guys. Report to command.
Command. Exit the building with the victim. Parker.
Copy, victim rescued and all personnel accounted for. Good job. All right, guys, dress down and cool down. You did excellent. Did excellent. Okay, now you guys are the ones on camera. No, I'm just kidding. So everybody did really good. You all passed. Did a good job. Do you guys have any feedback for me? Anything that I can do better, or just anything?
Longer webbing
Longer webbing, I agree.
and a better dummy.
I agree there too. I'll work on getting us a better training prop. So, but everybody passed, did a great job, and really appreciate you guys. Appreciate you coming in today on your day off to help me out with this presentation and do the training. You guys did a good job. So, thank you.
Thank you.
No problem, sir. Thank you.